Imagine sitting alone in a quiet room, looking at the fire, feeling the heat on your skin. How do you know with absolute mathematical certainty that the room, the fire, and even your own body actually exist? We already know our eyes and ears make mistakes. A square tower looks round from a distance, and a straight stick appears bent when dipped in water. If our senses lie to us about objects that are far away or hard to see, we cannot assume they are perfectly reliable for anything else. Then comes a more severe problem. Think about your most vivid nightmares. While you are asleep, the sensations of running, falling, or touching an object feel perfectly clear and real. There is no definitive way to distinguish between a waking state and a dreaming state based on sensory data alone. Since your brain is capable of generating a flawless simulation of reality while you are unconscious, every physical texture you feel or color you see right now could simply be a product of your own sleeping mind. In this context, all physical data must be treated as potentially false. René Descartes formalized this process of systematic doubt, the method of discarding any belief that contains the slightest uncertainty, in his 1637 publication, Discourse on the Method. He realized that to build a system of flawless scientific knowledge, he first had to tear the old one down. He resolved to ignore every belief derived from his senses, treating the entire physical world as a potential illusion. To figure out what physical matter actually is, Descartes devised a test. He needed to isolate a single object and strip away its properties one by one to see what remained. He chose a simple piece of wax. Fresh from the hive, it has a distinct set of characteristics. You can tap it and hear a dull thud. It feels hard and cold to the touch. It has sharp, rigid edges, and it retains the sweet smell of flowers and honey. But move that same piece of wax near the fire and the hearth. The temperature rises. The floral scent evaporates. The hard edges collapse into a puddle. Every single sensory property it just had is gone. The sound, the smell, and the shape have all vanished. Yet, if I ask you what is sitting by the fire, you will tell me it is the exact same piece of wax. Your eyes, nose, and hands report a completely new set of data, but your mind identifies the object as being the same as it was before. This demonstrates that our understanding of physical objects does not actually come from our eyes or our fingertips. It is a mental intuition that identifies the object, persisting even when the physical qualities are completely transformed. Descartes concluded that the only permanent property belonging to the wax is extension. This is the capacity of an object to take up physical space, possessing length, breadth, and depth, and the flexibility to take on various shapes. The liquid wax could theoretically take on an infinite number of different shapes as it moves and cools. But your human imagination, the faculty that forms mental pictures, has a limit. You cannot actively visualize an infinite number of shifting geometric variations at the same time. Because the visual imagination fails to grasp this infinity, another faculty must be at work. Descartes called this pure intellection, the mind's ability to understand abstract concepts entirely without the use of mental images or physical sensations. You don't see the wax, you perceive it with your understanding. This abstract, rational thought is a more accurate tool for grasping reality than physical touch, sight, or the limits of your own imagination. Having proved the senses are weak, Descartes pushed his doubt to its extreme. He imagined a supreme evil entity whose entire purpose was to trap him in a continuous hallucination, manipulating his senses and even tricking him about the answers to basic geometry. Yet even in this scenario, a deception requires a recipient. An illusion cannot be projected into a void. To be misled, there must be a subject for the deception to act upon. The very act of questioning whether or not you are real requires a mind to ask the question. If you are doubting, you are thinking. And if you are thinking, you exist. He identified this realization as the first principle of his philosophy, expressed in a single maxim: I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. This realization strictly defines the self, because you can confirm your mind exists while still doubting the existence of your hands or your heart. The self is a thinking thing.
It is a substance whose whole essence consists of conscious thought, requiring no physical space to operate. Descartes concluded that the mind is more easily known than the body. Because internal logic is the only point that cannot be doubted, he argued that all science and philosophy must be built outward from the mind, rather than inward from flawed external observations.